stardust, so shine.
Peace and blessings, family, and welcome to Labors of Love podcast, the Fatherhood series. We are here to inspire, uplift, and enlighten. Each episode, we will be hearing from fathers sharing their perspectives and experiences on all aspects of the fatherhood journey. This evening, I have the privilege of speaking with Booker B. Snow III. Booker is a father, author, screenplay writer, and lyricist from Detroit, Michigan. His book of poetic love letters, Journey to Love, 40 Letters Dedicated to Love, Volume 1, is available exclusively on Amazon and has had a great response. Booker has received praise for his transparency and willingness to reveal genuine emotion through his poetic letters. Currently, Booker has 2 short films, Whoa and Holla. They're available on Venmo. His full feature film, Untouchable, will be on Amazon Prime Video sometime in 2022. Production on his first comedy and his second romantic film will begin later this year. 2023 will start with his first action film going into production. Booker's passion for writing flourished while attending the University of Michigan-Dearborn, majoring in English. His new podcast, Lemme Holla At You, with Ty Wonder, is available on most radio streaming sites. Visit eastpawsnow.com for more information and for content available from Booker B. Snow III. Thank you for joining us this evening. Welcome. Peace and blessings, family. Thank you, and welcome, Booker. Thank you for joining us on Labors of Love, the Fatherhood edition.
Thank you for having me. I'm very grateful and honored that you considered me. I appreciate you.
Thank you. So we're just going to jump right into the conversation. Only have you for a short period of time, so we want to get in as much as possible. So prior to becoming a father for the first time, what was like your understanding or messaging around pregnancy, labor, delivery, as a child and up until that point?
Well, I was very active with my mother. It was me and her for a long time, and I was very active as far as like being present for her when she was carrying my little brother, Kamal. And I mean, whatever she needed, my dad made sure he taught me how to be a gentleman and take care of her and look after her. He showed me the basics of driving in case an emergency happened. And you're talking about I'm 10 years old and he's doing
Oh
that.
my goodness.
Yeah, so I had a beautiful foundation through my village and making sure that I understood, how to take care of my mom and look after my mother. So by the time my little brother got here, I was ready for him. I was ready. Yeah. So my dad is an intricate part, and just learning how to just be a gentleman. I think it all starts from there, as far as the basics of the how tos. And it was always the little things. It was always the little things, making sure, I don't know, she's hungry, not asking any questions on, what, figure it out.
Yes.
Pregnant mom says she's hungry, figure it out. So,
Yes.
just being present.
Yeah. So, in going into your first experience with finding out you all were pregnant, what was somewhat of the preparation? Did you feel comfortable and confident in what this process was going to be like? Were all of them very different? What was that like for you finding out?
Oh, so everything was always different. It was never the same twice. So I'm a father of 2 girls.
Okay.
And I raised 2 stepdaughters, and then I also helped and had a hand in raising my siblings because I'm much older than all of them. Some a little more intimate than others, just because we weren't always in the same household. But as far as with my girls, they primarily spent, like as far as being prepared, a lot of the time went into learning like each thing each trimester.
Okay. As
'Cause
things came up.
Right,
Okay.
right, and it had to happen really fast. And it was the same thing with my mother when she was carrying my siblings. Like I had to learn everything. So it's every, what, 3 months?
Mhm.
It's new habits, new taste buds, new, you know, you guys are you guys are complex beings and creations. Like you change so much, even not being pregnant. So being
Right.
pregnant, excuse my ladies, don't come after me about this. You guys are like a living, breathing incubator.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That's not.
Absolutely.
And then your body's prepping itself to give itself surgery, and then it heals itself. Come on,
Yeah.
So the prep for all that, it's like there's no perfect way to really prep for it.
Mhm.
But I think the main thing is just trying to pay attention to my kid's mother as much as possible, to my daughter's mom, and make sure that she had a thing with one of them where she liked pickled okra.
Okay.
So guess who would have to get up and find pickled okra at 2, 3 in the morning and still have to work the next day? You know,
Right.
it was what it was.
Yes.
And I did my best to just be available as much as possible. And if I had to adjust, I adjusted. I did what I had to do. But I was blessed enough to already have stuff prepped to where I was present for both births. So
That is absolutely beautiful. So just as far as were there when you had to like the discovery of the new things during the different trimesters, were there classes involved? Was it tapping into your village to get a better understanding? Was the internet even an option at that time?
the internet was an option, just not like how it is now. Not even
Right.
close. Not even close. It's amazing how fast that moves.
Yes.
But my village was amazing. Between that and then I just made sure that I went to the doctor's appointments with her. Me and the doctor were very familiar with each other. She was amazing. Um, we knew what hospitals we knew everything ahead of time. And then a lot of those things, as far as that goes into Lamont's training, we didn't have to do because she had to have C sections with both. So because I'm 6'5", 250, and their
Oof.
mom is 5'8". So
Yeah.
you're talking about right now. My oldest daughter is 5'10", and the
Mm,
youngest, who's 15, is about 6 feet 6'1".
okay.
So
Okay.
she has
Yeah.
C sections with both.
Yeah.
So,
Wow.
but we were prepped. Like it was like to the T. Like everything was just boom, 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 and the biggest thing was really her safety and making sure that mom was taken care of and things of that nature. Everything else was easy.
Yeah, yeah. And that's important, like you said, just that safety factor and making sure everyone is comfortable and confident in the environment in which they're birthing in. So it sounds like because you already knew beforehand that you all were going to prep for a C-section, that both of the births took place in a hospital setting.
Yes,
Mhm.
yes.
Mhm.
We
And then,
we never really gave it thought as far as having a natural.
Mhm.
I knew initially she wasn't going to take the epidural.
Okay.
So, but of course, with having C sections, it's a whole nother procedure anyway. But she had already made it clear she wasn't taking it.
Okay, okay. So that you all had some of that dialogue beforehand, just going in, kind of visioning the process and what you wanted the experience to be, or what she wanted
Well,
it to be.
it's a whole lot of yes, ma'am involved.
Oh yeah,
You know,
the dad
because I mean the
perspective,
thing is,
absolutely.
I'm big on being present and I'm big on having an opinion, but it's her body. Like I can't, if things got too out of hand, I'll step in, to look out and cover and protect. Outside of that, if the woman says she don't want foreign drugs in her body while giving birth,
Okay,
I'm get mad about it. Like,
right, right.
it
And
was
I'm
okay
glad
with me.
on that because just that supportive energy that you're coming with, like this is the experience. This is your body. We have to make
Yeah,
sure like you're comfortable, that you're confident in the choices that you're making and all of those things. So I
yeah.
definitely appreciate that perspective. So as far as like the births themselves, did you have those moments of, seeing the child for the first time, or, was there
Yeah.
anything during that process that, that stood out and that you remember from the birthing experiences?
I remember the whole thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, with both. Yeah, yeah. So my oldest daughter, Brooke, when they brought me in, they had already started,
Mhm.
and it was wild because I walked in and a lot of her organs and stuff were on the table,
Yeah.
and it was like, yo, my wife insides are on the table.
Yeah.
Like, oh man. So they took me around to the other side to like be near her face.
Mhm.
And I'm like, hey, baby, she's, hey, she's half out of it, hey. And then
Yeah.
they took my daughter out and, I heard her cry and I'm seeing this whole thing. And then they got her cleaned off and they brought her near her mom, near her face. She was like, oh my gosh. And then my daughter reached over and grabbed her bottom lip.
Oh.
Yeah, like we lost it.
Yeah.
We lost it. It was the most precious.
Yeah.
We lost it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then Carly, my second daughter, when she was born, she I just remember her being pitch quiet. She was
Mm.
quiet, like Brooke was loud. Carly
Right.
was quiet. She was adorable. Everything about the whole thing. It like she was the tiniest thing. Now she's 6'1". Uh, yeah, but I remember both of those like yesterday. Beautiful moments, and I'm glad I was present for both.
Wow. No, that's amazing. And it's to hear the love in your voice and also just the uniqueness of both experiences, right? Like they were their own,
Yeah.
with this energy. So that's beautiful. So then as we, fast forward into this whole now your parents and in this whole fatherhood journey of having, daughters and also being a father figure to others, what has that been like for you? And if there's a father or soon to be father listening, like what were some of the life lessons or some of the things that, you might wish you would have known, that you learned along the way?
Um, it's crazy because my parents were just talking about this today, sort of, and I walked in on them having a conversation, and their main point was it's always about the kids, and that's something I think I kind of dwell in already because I'm big on children and making sure that children have safe environments. And
Mm.
I used to mentor and coach and do a lot of other things and activities with young people, and they do as they see, not as they're told. So we can fuss, we can yell, we can. It doesn't help as much as you think it does. Like you have to be their break from the world the same way you want your partner to be your break from the world. Those kids, these children need that. And then right now, uh, every now and then, my girls get a little out of pocket, like verbally, 'cause they're getting older. And they test the lines. They don't do it on purpose, but they test.
Yeah.
And the thing I have to remember is this: these kids have been through what, two recessions, maybe three, a
Wow.
depression,
True.
and then we in year two, going in three of a pandemic.
Right. Who has had those experiences?
These kids are going through something that hasn't been seen since you talk about the 1920s. If I
Yeah.
got my timelines right,
Right. With
so
the flu. Right.
yeah,
Mhm. Yeah.
so these kids are going through something different, and the thing that makes it super different is the world moves faster too. So they're going through all of these difficulties. It was normal for us to go outside and play.
Right.
These kids were stranded in the house because they was afraid somebody would sneeze in their face.
Exactly. School, not going to school. Like,
Yeah,
yeah.
they went from being stuck in front of a computer or a TV for fun to now they have to do it out of necessity. That's
Yeah.
stressful. And
Yeah.
then when they do want to break away from it, where are they going?
Right.
Like inner city places, like inner cities like Detroit, what
Mhm.
park are they going to
Right. Wow.
safely? You know
Right.
what I mean?
Mhm.
Atlanta, where I am not, like, where are they going?
Yeah.
It's not a whole, I mean, there's places, don't get me wrong. I don't want to
Mhm.
make it like there's just nothing, but safely.
Yeah.
There isn't a group of five kids that's like 5, 6, 7, 8 years old walking down the street anymore going to the park.
No. Wow.
There's no elders sitting on the porches making sure the kids in the neighborhood safe. The young people aren't respecting the elders anyway.
Right.
They're robbing, running in their houses. So, with all of that being said, the most
Mhm.
important thing I could tell you is the village.
Yes.
You have to form the village. It's all about the village. And then on top of that, remember, forming that village is always about the youth.
Mhm.
Like I'm only 42 and I may not be done, but in certain areas in life, I had to own the fact that my time had passed in those areas.
Mhm.
And there's certain things I could pass to my kids now and go, hey, can you show me? Can you teach me? Help me out with this? Or social media. I can
Right.
I can I can give my phone to my 17-year-old and go, okay, I don't know how to do this. And it's okay. It's okay. Shouldn't be offended. And then I don't take my kids as a competition and I don't challenge them. At least not in ways to where they could possibly feel inferior.
Mhm.
I make sure I do things to where, it always lifts them up and, it's about protecting them and making sure they just understand that they got dope people around them. They have a lot of people they can reach out to for a lot of things. A wonderful friend of mine just helped my daughter get like almost $100,000 worth of scholarships,
Wow.
for college. Between her and then it's another woman that's like a mom to me. I love this woman. She, between the two of them, she loaded.
She's good. Yes.
Good. She ended up winning some contest with Ford and getting another scholarship with them. So
Yeah.
it's the village.
Yes.
And that's her principal, her teachers. Between me and her mom, we know all of these people. And
Yeah.
we make sure that she has relationships with them on her own. Not we may
Mhm.
introduce, but those are her relationships at that point.
Yeah. Yeah. Now that's powerful, and I appreciate you making reference to the importance of connection and how you make the introduction, but you establish your own connection to strengthen that. How did you come about forming your village, or what are some avenues that those who may be feeling like they're isolated or might have moved to a new place and they didn't grow up in the area? What were some ways that you formed your village?
Well, I know it's a lot more difficult now because again, we still in somewhat of a pandemic.
Yeah.
So when it comes down to it, it's hard to say this, but you do have to trust some of the connections you make online sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
When you start talking about business owners, uh, mentors, no one's perfect, but you have to trust those connections to an extent.
Hmm.
Um, to where if they're giving you other connections, give them connections in return. Formulate the village in that manner. Like we've never personally
Right.
but I feel like I could reach out to you and, hey, my
Absolutely.
daughter has to interview someone who has their own show, you never know.
Absolutely.
You never know, and I mean, yeah, my whole thing is always going to revert back to, so, when I was growing up, my parents supplied me with a village, whether it was they're both retired firefighters. My mother was a police officer for a while. Uh, have uncles who, did various things. And I was very active with my uncles and my grandparents, my great grandparents. I had a great great for a hot second. Like,
Wow.
so it's like the village was vast. I'm tight with second and third removed cousins. And,
Mhm. Mhm.
I got 13 siblings. We all cool. Like, but we don't
Wow.
all have the same parents. You know what I mean?
Right.
So with having that kind of village in place and you still engage with all of them as best as you can,
Mhm.
I mean, you're gonna do okay.
Yeah.
You're gonna do okay as long as you want to. My daughters have always had people they can reach out to, whether it's family or non-family. Well, I'll say they're all family, so I'll say blood or non.
Right.
And they've had the opportunity to reach out and engage with these people. Shoot, my best friend is my literally like my brother,
Mhm.
and my kids refer to him as uncle.
Mhm.
And he called me one day and he was like, "Bro, I need to do something for my niece." I said, "What you mean?" He like, "She's just doing so good, man. I want to do something for her." I was like, "I mean, she don't need nothing." He said,
Mhm.
"No, man. How much are her senior dues?" I said, like, gave him the price. He said, "I got it." I was like, "Man, you ain't got this." He said, pulling the uncle card. Leave it alone, man. When my boys say they pulled the uncle card, I shut up. So
Yes. No, that.
those are the kind of things that I don't demand from my village, and they don't either. But it's beautiful that when you treat them right, it's like a reciprocation of just beautiful energy when nobody's trying to do these things for each other. We just do,
Yeah.
and the spillage is, affecting my kids in a very positive way, you
Indeed.
know. So I'm just grateful for that. And I think, like how you're saying, like, what would I offer anybody else. And I would really offer just really um, forge it for continue to forge a good um, environment and put them in the best position possible for them to be able to do the best they can for themselves, not so much for you or your spouse or whoever else, but for them so they can become the best versions of themselves.
Mhm, mhm.
Did that
Wow.
answer it?
Absolutely did. And again, it
Okay.
just the importance of connection and the value of surrounding yourself with, like-minded people and that energy being reciprocated because that is just something that is so powerful. And so I want to go into somewhat of an example or a story that you may have from your fatherhood experience, either with your children or, in the mentoring piece, but something that kind of exemplifies, that role and how it plays out.
So, and it's so many.
Yeah. Yes.
So
Yes.
I used to work with the summer camp at the Farmington Hills YMCA.
Mm,
Uh, and I remember bringing my daughters to the camp
mhm,
and their cousins. And when I tell you it's the summer of their lives, initially when they started, they like, camp, And I'm like, just give it a try. Like,
mhm.
hush,
We
And once
don't.
they got started, they were in their own little circle for a minute.
Mhm.
And then next thing you know, the youngest, my niece, she branched off with these other two, three little girls. They actually formed like a cool girl clique.
Aw.
It was priceless. And
Yeah.
then my oldest ended up hanging out with another kid, and they ended up going to another school together. And they were pretty close for a little while. And then my other daughter got with her little clique, and it was crazy to watch five children go from this to this,
Yep. Yeah.
and then they just completely ended up branching off. And next thing you know, shoot, into the camp, I gotta go find them all.
Right,
Instead
right.
of them being all huddled up together, I had to go find them all.
Yeah.
And all it was providing a decent environment,
Mhm,
them not being afraid to be able to pay attention and find like-minded or people who kind of were interested in some similar things.
mhm,
Um, I think they did an amazing job, just like staying out of trouble on their own.
mhm,
Because none of my children were troublesome,
mhm.
or my pretty well behaved kids. Um, but I was really blessed to be in a position to where I can place them in that type of environment to where they can figure it out
Yeah.
and they can learn on their own. And if
Mhm.
they fail, like we'll be at certain places and I'll hear boom, and every now and then it was one of my kids, but they get up, sweep it off, and keep going. And to watch them do that instead of looking around for mom or looking around for me was dope. I loved it.
Yeah.
I loved it.
Yeah.
So I didn't want to go too dark. You know what I mean? I've encountered some wild things where the villages had to get involved. But when it comes to sometimes it's not that deep.
Mhm,
Sometimes it's the little victories. And for me, that was a victory that equated to something larger later. Just the kids being able to kind of have that camaraderie and build on their own.
mhm, mhm,
Just remove their own fear instead of me having to go make friends, go do this, go talk.
mhm.
I don't think I've ever had to do that
Yeah.
with any of my girls. I've never had to, go through that. So
And is it somewhat rewarding to witness the blossoming, right? Like them, you
yeah,
know, growing and developing and getting from one stage to the next and being like, yeah, you got it.
I feel like one of the dopest parts of it is literally teaching the child independence early, and then
Mm,
being able to watch them fall, watch them fail, or take in lessons. I'd rather say that instead of fail.
okay.
But for them to take lessons, continue the developmental process, and to be a part of it. Like it's like on one end, I'm grateful to be a part of it. It's hard. It's hard sometimes as a parent because you want to protect them from everything,
Yeah.
but it's also something about just staying in a distance to where you can jump in if needed.
Hmm.
And then they start realizing that they don't need you for as much, and then just to watch them grow in that manner, it's just amazing, you
Yeah.
know.
No,
Yeah,
that
I love it.
That beautiful. So that is so beautiful, and time flies so quickly. So I want to make sure that we have time to kind of talk about some of the things that you have going on, because that's part of the way that we connected, and it's just phenomenal, some of the work that you're doing, and some of the things that I was able to kind of listen
Mhm.
to and get connected with, especially around the writing and the podcast. So please, can you take some time to just kind of share with us, you know, who you are and some of the things that you have going on and how people can connect.
Yes, ma'am. Well, of course, my name is Booker Snow. I'm the author of A Journey to Love, 40 Letters Dedicated to Love, which is literally 40 letters written in 40 days to a specific woman that was like the embodiment of love.
Wow.
Um, that's my homage to her. Um, I have two coming soon. It will be out before the end of the year. We haven't set the actual release date yet, but that announcement is coming soon.
Excellent.
I'm also a screenplay writer. So
Mhm.
right now I have two shorts available in Vimeo. One is called Holla, and the one where that's in edit right now is called Untouchable, and that's our first full length feature film.
Very nice.
So we have that in edit right now. Uh, I've also directed some music videos.
Yeah.
Like yeah, and the thing is, all of this is happening in 2 years. But I've
Wow.
directed maybe 6 or 7 videos, and even with my poetry book, there are videos that go along with some of the poems.
Mhm,
Um,
mhm.
those can be seen on YouTube or go to my website, which is eastpaulsnow.com, EASTPAWSNOW.com. Uh, that'll be updated soon as well, but for right now, that's where everything is.
Okay.
Um, I'm also working with my little brother, who's a rap artist. So kind of working with him and getting him developed in development. His name is Sovereign. Kind of like this sovereign, like a king. It's
Mhm.
sovereign. So we're working with him right now, and he's in the development stages of having a bright and fruitful career with that.
Okay.
So it's been a fun ride. It's been a fun ride so far. Just being in the entertainment realm. But
Mhm.
the books and the scripts have been my primary thing. I absolutely love being able to create in that manner and let my imagination.
Yeah, no, that is amazing and just so valuable. And again, just the conversations and the dialogue that comes from even the discussion about love and relationships. So I think it's powerful. It's much needed. The conversations and the representation as well. So to see, you know, someone like yourself on a podcast or hear about your poetry and things like that, like it is dynamic. We need so much more of that. So I definitely
Oh, you know what? The podcast. I'm sorry, I
yes,
meant to mention that first. Oh man, and that's super important. It's called Lemme Holla At You.
yeah,
It's spelled Lemme HOLLA at you. So let me holla at you. It's me and Ty Wonder, very great friend of mine, the amazing actress, and
okay.
she actually owns her own production company that
Mm,
I work through. So that's who we're doing the podcast through. Those are through her production company.
very
Like
nice.
she won't be she'll be a household name. So
Okay.
I'm doing my best to help make sure of that.
Indeed, indeed.
Oh,
The
oh
show definitely it's a must listen to. I've listened to a couple episodes. It is definitely, and it's more than just entertaining. It's thought provoking. I love the topics of conversation, and it's so relevant in the time that we're in. So definitely check it out, and I'll make sure that all of your links are included in the description, so people don't necessarily have to
thank
figure
you.
it out. They can just click on it and get to you. But again,
Mhm.
it's just valuable conversation, and we need more, more of the books, more of the productions, because we need to see us in all aspects of how we show up. So I appreciate you doing that work, and I appreciate you taking the time out to just have a conversation with us. I think every life lessons are just so valuable, and we never know who needs to hear what. But to be able to put it out there and just speak freely is amazing.
Thank you. Again, I'm grateful for even being considered. This was a big deal, so I wanted to make sure I was on time and everything else. The schedule was clear. But this was a huge deal for me to even be thought of and considered to be on here with you. I'm very grateful.
Thank you so much. And for all of those who are listening, such value is in this conversation. Please share, 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 because again, we can't have these conversations enough, and somebody can definitely take something valuable away from this. So thank you all for joining us. Peace and blessings, family.